And we meet again, and it is a day later, and we are going to do some spoiling now. And for those of you that probably already have seen the movie, and I'm sure there's a lot of you who have already seen the movie, based upon our recommendation or anything else.
If you're not a total and complete idiot, you probably should have if you're watching this video.
Yeah, no lie. Or some of you guys and girls out there, I know you like to be spoiled. So, first thing I will say that we're going to talk about our opinions on some of the various things that we could not talk about during the actual review. Some Easter eggs, potentially, some things that could lead into the next movies, and some stuff that I'm sure a lot of you already know before you even watch the movie. So, that's basically what we're going to do here. This is spoiler alert. This is a brand new segment here on Pop.
We're basically continuing the review, just with spoilers.
We're going to be able to talk more freely about it than have to hold things back. And this won't be every movie. We're just going to hit some of the big blockbusters. And if there's a movie that's small and we want to talk about, spoil it completely, like The Iceman from last year, we're going to do that too. So, let's take it away, AJ.
Alright. Well, obviously the first thing we need to touch on is the whole Fury thing.
Yes.
Well, I was of two minds about this. Because it basically... This big chase scene had started. They had all blocked him in.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get his fucking car to do what he wanted it to do.
Everything was disabled because it was so beaten up.
Except the air conditioning.
Yes. Not forget the AC.
And they just completely, practically destroy his car and almost get to him, but he manages to finally break free from them. And there's that magnificent car chase we talked about.
Yeah.
There were like 3 or 4 times in this scene where I thought, oh my god, holy shit, they're gonna kill Nick Fury.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be all that surprising, but it felt a little early. And I would have been surprised if they had.
It's actually like Gordon in The Dark Knight. That's what it kind of reminded me of.
Yeah, but, obviously that was not the case.
No.
Because pretty much everything in the Dark Knight trailer hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Big surprise. He wasn't even commissioner yet. But anyway, so he manages to escape and he goes to Steve's house, where he's gunned down anyway. But yeah, here's the thing. I'm basically traumatized by the X-Men movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because the X-Men movies are so fucking cheap, because when somebody dies in an X-Men movie, they're never completely dead. They always come back for some reason, somehow. And it's continued to piss me off through that whole series. So generally, anytime somebody dies in a superhero movie, I'm kind of questioning it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
There's people to this day still questioning Coulson's death.
Yeah. We don't know.
Well, in the meantime, we get this glorious fake out. This is the problem, though. I understand that Fury had to be alive and had to fake his death for the purpose of the plot.
Of course.
Not just one of those things where it was a lazy script and this had to happen because of that, but, actually, the way the story was, he just had to do that.
Mm.
But by that point in the movie, I had gotten used to the fact that he was dead.
Yeah.
So when we come in and he's on the bed and he's got the sling, the hey, you thought I was dead sling that's in almost every movie, every action movie, where a good guy is killed. By that point I was thinking, oh, I guess, alright. We get more Samuel L. Jackson, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I do think it would have been a little more awesome if Nick Fury had stayed dead. Which, I don't know how they're going to handle him in future movies now, given the ending. Because he basically... Okay. So Iron Man 3 ends with Tony Stark getting the shrapnel taken out of him.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have the thing anymore. And now Nick Fury no longer has his eye patch, or his leather clothes.
Yeah.
And just burns all this shit. And basically lives... He's just gonna walk the earth like Kaden Kung Fu.
Nice segue, by the way.
So, I wonder what the fuck they're gonna do, the two of them. Well, Tony Stark, I'm sure, has an excuse.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what happens with Nick Fury now. I assume he'll be back. I just wonder what he's gonna do.
Yeah, it's pretty much a guarantee. It was not a guarantee he was coming back for the next one, but then they worked everything out, and he is coming back now.
While we're on the subject, let's talk about the insane moment that blew my mind, where we got to see Under the Patch.
Yes. Oh my God.
That was, it's not very often anymore where, like, because you hear about so much shit lately about, stuff ahead of time.
It's the internet. That's how it works.
Something as small as seeing under Nick Fury's eye patch blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if it was just, like, missing. I didn't know if it was just fucked up. I had no idea.
Yeah,
I had no idea if the comics ever revealed that or not. I don't know. There was a really funny, it was the CinemaSins video when they did the Avengers. The joke they did was, Nick Fury's backstory starts and ends with eye patch. But yeah, I suppose I'm okay with Fury still being alive. Mm-hmm. It was just kind of a bummer to me that I had just gotten used to him being dead. Like, because I was thinking, the whole time I was thinking, wow, they're actually gonna kill him. And then of course, when we saw him, that he had escaped through underneath the car and through the street and all that, it was like, oh yeah, of course they didn't kill Nick Fury. And then when he dies in the next scene, it's like, number one, it's like, oh my god, I can't believe they did that. And then it starts to register and you're like, man, that was actually pretty ballsy.
Yeah.
But then, fine.
And he comes back.
I guess it's okay. I won't give it too much heat, I guess.
No.
There is also a few things I wanted to talk about. I guess I want to talk about Bucky some more, now that we can openly.
Yeah.
I want to discuss this further. I basically said this in the last review, but I'll bring it up again. I have no idea if Bucky's reveal is supposed to be a reveal or not, because here's the way it happened. There were two parts of his mask. He's like fucking Vader, I guess. He's got the mouth part and he's got the eyes part. After a while, he loses the eyes part. And that's the dead giveaway right there if you recognize what Bucky looks like. The hair is not fooling anybody.
No, not at all.
And then in the middle of this fight, he loses the other mask. And it's this big reveal. We see the mask fly off and then he does the turnaround. Is that supposed to be the reveal of him?
I would say so.
And here's the funny thing was that strictly to hide his identity? Because once Captain America found out, and once the audience found out for sure that it was Bucky, notice he never wore the mask again. I guess that was just for big, mysterious purposes that weren't really that big and mysterious.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm sure some comic book nerd can tell me or something. I use that as a compliment, by the way.
Yes.
Nerd is in now.
Yeah, it really is.
While we're on the subject of the fact that Nick Fury's alive, I'd like to talk about the fact that I was really interested to see Samuel Jackson and Robert Redford have a scene together.
Yeah.
Maybe Samuel Jackson's been in so many movies, and maybe that's happened before, and I don't remember, but I don't think it's happened so prominently before. And the fact that they're playing old friends. And the fact that Fury's the one that gets to gun him down.
Yeah.
I did just like that whole ending confrontation. I suppose that's something that helped. I did love, it made it worth it that they brought Fury back when Fury got to have his big entrance at the end. And the big reveal to everybody else in the room that didn't know he was still alive.
Yeah.
And then the fact that he and Redford get a confrontation after all the corruption, and the fact that Redford is the reason all of this shit happened, and why everybody thought that Fury was the one that fucked S.H.I.E.L.D. over. It was a nice... brought everything together.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, now that I did get used to Fury being dead, maybe I'm getting more used to him being alive now. They'll kill him in the Age of Ultron. Just to fuck with me.
I'm sure.
It's like Chris Christopherson in the Blade movies.
Yeah.
Oh no, they killed him in the first one. Hey, he's alive in the second one. Hey, let's blow him up in the first 10 minutes of the third one. I love that. I didn't know if this was much of a spoiler or not because we already know that he's Falcon. But I wanted to bring up how much I did love Falcon's entrance, despite the fact that I thought it was weird how abrupt it was.
Mm-hmm.
When we have the guy they've been chasing the whole movie, and he's saying what the whole audience is thinking. You're Captain America. You're not going to throw me off a building. And so Black Widow kicks him off, and we think he's actually fallen to his death.
Yeah,
I was thinking, so is he gonna be caught by something, or are we gonna hear a crash, or and then Anthony Mackie has his big entrance. The reason I wasn't expecting that was because I was thinking, well, surely they're not gonna introduce Falcon this early.
Oh yes, they did.
Oh, there he is already after 2 scenes. Hello. So do we get? And there was a couple of Okay. Let's talk about I went ahead and basically somewhat mentioned this in the other review because of how obvious it is, so I'll go ahead and mention it. I talked about it in the other review about how some things were really predictable, and that kind of brought it down.
Yeah.
Obviously, I hadn't seen a trailer. I hadn't seen a TV spot. I don't have any knowledge whatsoever of Captain America comics.
No, neither do I.
So I don't know anything that's going to happen or is happening, really. I don't even know if Redford's character's in the comics or not. He seems like an awfully generic character to be a comic book character. I have no idea. But regardless, when Robert Redford was cast in it, when it broke news that he was going to be in the movie, even though it's obviously just an homage to 3 Days of the Condor, because that's the movie they took inspiration from, is why he's in the movie altogether. When I heard of his casting, I automatically assumed he was the villain, without knowing. And once again, I'm not even so sure if it's supposed to be a twist or not. If he is, I think it is. But it just seemed kind of obvious. Because he just seemed... When you have an actor that big, it's like Michael Keaton in RoboCop, if you want to talk recently.
Yeah.
With Samuel Jackson, by the way.
Yeah.
If you're a really well-known veteran actor, and you're in a big blockbuster movie, and you're wearing a suit and you're in charge of meetings, you're probably going to be revealed as a bad guy later.
Yes.
By the way, I love that we finally saw the people, those unseen faces of S.H.I.E.L.D. that we saw in the Avengers. We finally fucking see their faces, even though everybody knows what the woman looks like.
Yeah.
She was famous when she was younger, for Logan's Run and Walkabout. I think Powers Booth was one of them in the Avengers. He wasn't in this, though.
No.
But we saw the rest of their faces. That felt like a privilege. We saw them, and we saw under Nick Fury's eye patch. I feel like there are no surprises left in the Avengers franchise.
Nope.
I feel like you guys just blew your load here. Okay, yeah, and of course the scene where he, he's talking to Bucky in the... he's still Bucky. Maybe he needs air quotes, I don't know. In the kitchen, and his maid comes back. And he kind of... it's a cool moment for Redford when he says, I really wished you had knocked, and he blows her away. Because I kind of thought he was going to say, Bucky, kill her, but he does it himself, which is cool. Because normally those kind of bad guys just kind of sit back and let other people do shit for them.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was the moment where I said, oh yeah, I think we're supposed to be surprised by by this scene. But, I've kind of felt it was coming. Mm. And then that really, really annoying scene. Like I said, I don't really much like her anyway. The scene where they get captured, Captain America and Black Widow get captured, and they get put in the back, and there are the 2 guards there with the helmets on where you can't see their faces. So naturally, they're saying, oh, Anthony Mackie's back there too. Because Black Widow's bleeding, and he's like, hey man, she needs a hospital, and they say, the one guard says, oh, he doesn't say anything, but he basically says, oh, you stop that by showing him the weapon. And then the other guard starts to beat the shit out of that guard with, actual moves. And just the whole time, in my head, I'm saying, who could that... Oh, it must be Kobe Smulders. Stop dragging this out, just take your helmet off. Take the helmet... There you are.
There was a guy that marked out in the front row, too. I heard him as well.
How I Met Your Mother fan, perhaps?
Must be.
Okay. The Stan Lee cameo. I could be mistaken. Is this the first time Stan Lee's cameos had a line?
There has to be one more.
I was thinking
I
he
can't
did-
think of any.
He might have in Thor, but I don't remember. I think they just cut to him, but I don't know.
No, he was talking on the news broadcast.
In the Avengers, but
Yeah.
did we hear it?
I think he at least said a couple of words. It's been a while since I've seen the Avengers.
Well, this is the first time he's had like a front and center. I have a couple of lines cameo. I think. I don't know. There's so many. He's had an appearance in almost every Marvel movie that's ever been made, so it's hard to keep track. Usually he's just there silently. Lastly, there's a couple of other little things in there, like you brought it to me. You just read somewhere. I didn't see that, but I really wish I had.
Yeah.
Apparently, at the end when they're at Nick Fury's makeshift tombstone,
Yes.
there is a Bible verse on it.
Yeah, there is.
Need I even take that further?
Nope.
Which line did they use?
The path of the righteous man.
Yeah. Ezekiel 25:17. Of course.
I saw it because I laughed out loud when I saw it.
I wish I had seen it, but I didn't.
Oh man.
I guess I wasn't looking close enough. As far as the title is concerned, I was a little interested. Basically, I know the whole thing is basically to build up Bucky,
Yeah.
but he's basically just kind of a henchman here. Like, it almost made me think, calling this Captain America the Winter Soldier is basically like if you called Daredevil the Rise of Bullseye.
I'm sure there are a lot of people who would watch that movie.
I would watch an entire movie that was Colin Farrell as Bullseye.
Yes, I would as well.
Just killing people in creative ways.
Indeed.
Lastly, I guess we should talk about the credit stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you, Thor. Now the concept is to have two credit scenes. You have one in the middle and you have one at the end. No, technically the Avengers started that.
Mm-hmm. You're still thanking Thor, though, because he's part of the Avengers.
Whatever.
So there you go.
So yeah, now you have to wait for two of them. And yeah, there are the people, the people who see the middle one and then they leave. Because generally what the thing has been, it was with the Avengers and then it was with Thor. Generally the middle one was to set up later story, and then the one after all the credits was for a laugh.
Yes.
But both of these are for build-up.
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine what Guardians of the Galaxy will be. It might be like how the first Captain America's was just a trailer for the Avengers. Some cheap bullshit like that. It could be, I guess. Obviously the first scene is to set up our favorite person in the world, Olsen.
Yeah.
And I think Aaron Johnson.
It's Aaron Johnson.
Alright, what are their names?
I believe Quicksilver.
Quicksilver and...
I'm trying to find it quickly.
I can't remember what her name is. I remember it was a big
They're referred to as the twins. That's one of the first their first mention in the after credits scene.
I don't even remember. I don't even know what they do because I don't know them from the comics. So
Quicksilver I know from the comics, but
I'll be surprised when I find out.
yes, you will. I'll have it soon. Don't worry.
And the second one is to build up Bucky because we see him at the museum where the suits are and all that. Apparently, that's a whole other comic story.
I have Steve Rogers' list of pop culture. I have the list. There was actually a picture capture. Thank you for doing that illegally, by the way. Of the list of all the things that he writes down in the notebook.
Oh, yes.
And I have that right here, actually. I find it interesting. It's a list of pop culture references, basically what it says. I Love Lucy, the moon landing, Berlin Wall, Steve Jobs, disco, Thai food, Star Wars / Trek, Nirvana, Rocky, and Trouble Man.
I figured it would have been something like that, but I didn't get a good look at it.
That Scarlet Witch actually is Olsen.
Yeah, that's it.
Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Alright, so I kept wanting to say Red something, I was close.
Yep, Red Skull was in the first one. So, also props to people that know this. People that are from Ohio. would see something really recognizable in the movie. There is actually a scene that takes place at Tower City Mall in Cleveland, a mall that I frequent like a lot back several years ago. And the only reason I know this is because I've been up that escalator, and that Hard Rock Cafe awning is very hard to miss, especially when it's me.
Did you kiss Scarlett Johansson on that escalator?
I did not kiss Scarlett Johansson on that escalator. It's Cleveland. I doubt I saw anyone looking like Scarlett Johansson on that escalator.
We didn't even talk about Frank Grillo. He was pretty good too.
Yeah, he was.
Is he supposed to be something?
He might be.
Because the way they made that shot, it looked like he was just engulfed in an explosion, and then we get that shot of him. That shot that is very prominent, where they saved him apparently. I'm assuming he's supposed to be somebody later.
Well, apparently also that you noticed that Loki's scepter was.
Oh yeah.
That way you didn't mention it, so I was just wondering.
I was trying to piece together the twins. I had completely forgotten they showed that because I actually thought the scene was going to end there, and I was like, oh, all right, they have Loki's scepter. Good.
All right, sure. But yeah.
Alright, so I think that's about it for this.
Yeah, do not know how often this will be. Just whenever we decide to do one, actually. I think probably Amazing Spider-Man too.
Probably all the superhero movies.
Yeah, definitely the superhero movies and stuff like, I don't know, we may end up having...
maybe the Oscar contenders.
Yeah. Gone Girl, when it comes out, I think it may need a spoiler alert video.
Yeah, apparently it's got some big twist or something. So.
Guardians of the Galaxy for sure.
Superhero movie.
Yeah, superhero movies in general, so yeah. So yeah, stay tuned to Pop for more spoiler alert coming up soon. So like I said, next week in the video I said the same thing I'm going to say right here. We have Rio 2, we have Oculus, and we have Draft Day, and Jim Jarmusch's new movie.
My Lover's Not Alive.
That's right.
You can't remember that title?
I can remember Jim Jarmusch's name. That's good enough.
Tom Hiddleston is in it.
That's nice. So, that is pretty much all we have for today. AJ, any parting words?
No, that's it.